Hello, it's Fran Davidson from psychicandenergywork.com.au. Happy New Year to you. I hope you had a lovely end to 2023. It was, of course, a bit of a doozy as a year, and we're still, of course, separating from that. And I suppose that's a really good place to launch into my monthly update for this month, January 2024. Because in one sense, of course, January is always the start of a new year. And what I mean by that is it's the start of the new year from the calendar's perspective, from that piece of paper that says the first month is January, right? And therefore it's the start of the year often in our perceptions, in our expectations. And yet January is often not the real start of the new year, energetically or action-wise. And therefore in that sense of, you know what? Life is allowing me to get on with this new year, move into it, begin, start up again. And of course, in part, that makes sense given how many people are on break through January. And yet this January perhaps could be seen as a little bit special because of its chart. So this month we have 3 5s. We also have 4s and 3s, higher in count. So 5 can ask for patience, forbearance, tolerance, empathy, forgiveness. Yeah, in other words, use your breath. Yeah, do things that help you process whatever is perhaps not progressing in the way that you think it should, or perhaps presenting in a way that's slightly jarring. 4s call on the understand or the need to understand, and therefore to channel understanding, to come to understanding. So do you see how the 5s and 4s can work together? Because of course when, shall we say, challenge comes our way, what tends to happen is that we can go into our shoulds before anything else. And of course, part of that is because, of course, we're expecting things, we've planned things, we live to models. That doesn't mean we're bad, it doesn't mean models or expectations are wrong. But you see, every so often, life will deliver a period that really helps us realize, you know what, it's the model that's creating the tension. That doesn't necessarily mean it is the ideal, the goal, or the value that is creating the issue. It is the model. In other words, our definition of how life is supposed to play out right now, let alone in future, even in the past. January is always a lull, and part of that is because the Asian New Year has yet to kick in. This year, that is February the 10th, I believe, is when it starts. And so it's often around that lunar New Year turn every year that the energy for the new Gregorian calendar, 2024, really starts to go. And so January is not only a lull because everyone's on holidays or, things have yet to really start up again, but also because you've got that lunar cycle shift. That is a given in a sense every year. But again, because of this month's chart, there is the potential that these dynamics are magnified. And so what I'm really trying to get to is, to the degree that life is still sort of hot pokering you right now, asking you to be more patient, forgiving, generous, kind, not necessarily because you abandon goals, values, even standards, but because in a sense life is saying, no, it's not coming yet. I'm needing you to be patient with me. I'm needing you to relax and let your grip go of the situation, of the things that you're expecting, and also of the landscape. Now, releasing one's grip doesn't mean throwing our standards away or our desires, our wishes, our ideals. Nor does it mean devaluing, being dismissive of, you with me, turning something that isn't so pleasant or enjoyable right now into something that is, turning it into a nice, being nice, being, forgiving. And that's where that expression, turn the other cheek, can be really misleading. And because, of course, it's something that is ingrained in a lot of people through childhood, not because I'm saying it's a bad thing, because in balance, turn the other cheek is brilliant. But sometimes the turn the other cheek or be nice, be kind, those sorts of things can be embraced by egoic self in any of us in a way that we start to position ourselves as subordinate to egoic dynamics. In other words, pleasers. You and me are conflict avoiders. Mm-hmm. Now, none of my words are trying to encourage, war, arrogance, violence of any level, But on another level, what we also have to understand is that the responses that come to us as life unfolds, they're there for a reason. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean honor them as they are right now. What it does mean is take a few moments to process them. And because January is always a lull, because it can always feel a bit like a cruel start, that doesn't mean nice things don't happen in January. That's not what I'm saying for lots of people, but also, too, again, January, it's almost like the universe holds the race cars back from starting at the time they thought they were going to start. And so the patience, the enthusiasm, the desire to get going can really kick in a way that starts to manifest as frustration, disappointment, even a sense of abandonment. Why is life doing this? Why is life being so cruel? Now, again, this is interesting because we've just left a 7-year. And so even though we are now in 2024, which is an 8, we are still divesting of the 7 habit. 7, as you may remember from previous observations on my website, psychicandenergywork.com.au, or in my previous update, 7 can be too much head stuff, too much opinion, too much mind. You with me? And not being able to let go of the chatter, the noise, even the dynamic that we're caught up in. So 7 can be very much a time that sees us almost like myopic, sort of really overly focused or pulled into a particular aspect in a way that we just can't let it go, and or it can't let go or won't let go of us as easily as it usually did or does for the person involved. So 7 again can be a place that teaches us how to release the mind stuff, in ourselves, but also everybody else. And so this is also interesting because when we're talking processing energy, sometimes we can focus on what we think or know to be the issue in the very obvious sense. For example, I don't know, that cash flow isn't coming right now, or that person isn't changing in the way that I think is possible. Life isn't flowing in the way that I sense it can. At times we can overly fixate on those things, all of us, simply because, we know they can happen in all the right ways, in ways that can create balance, goodness, harmony, and just that feeling of, life's good. Life's good from a spiritual angle, not from an egoic one. So processing again is interesting because it can pull, or at least it can see us starting at the place where we have to, don't have to, but the starting point is the narrative that we're running with. For example, I'm frustrated, or why is the universe doing this? Why isn't the universe being kinder? Why isn't the universe supporting me? All those sorts of stuff. So in a sense, that is often just the very surface of the issue. And therefore, that doesn't render it meaningless. It doesn't render it as something to be dismissed or devalued, as a doorway into a room of healing. But you see, that's the whole point. The surface is always a doorway into a diving, an exploration of other depths beyond the door that are there actually wanting to inform, heal, clear, educate, and therefore guide the person through to the more that they sense is possible. And so what I'm trying to get to is the fact that things like frustration, impatience, anger, resentment, it's there to be processed, not dismissed. It's there to be listened to, heard, witnessed, not just put to one side or covered over. Because when we do that covering over and putting to one side, we essentially hold our breath, and breath is flow. Breath is the little button that turns life's manifesting conveyor belt on. And whenever we start to tense or whenever we start to get gripped by tense or excessively egoic energies, we can stop using breath and movement as much as we need to stay in balance and therefore to help the right levels of energy prevail irrespective of what's going on surface, in immediate, in world right now. And so what I'm trying to get to is that now is a really good time to process, especially if you're feeling sort of tense, sort of disappointed, sort of frustrated, whatever those were, even impatience. It is okay to feel angry with life. It is okay to feel angry with the universe. It's that anger is there for a reason. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, run around and express anger in a way that is inconsiderate, hurtful, or even physically demonstrated. Now that doesn't mean sometimes anger isn't a useful thing to share with others. But you see, what I'm also trying to get to is that processing, especially energy, especially those states of, you know what, the volcano's starting to, boil and bubble. Really, the first job is to say it to yourself. And therefore, it is to find a quiet moment to sort of sit with yourself and let the words out without vetting those words, without censoring them, without turning them into adult or reasonable or spiritual. Because by doing that, we are missing what wants to come out. And energy doesn't shift unless or until it is given the room to express what it's actually feeling in truth, no matter how balanced or not. Because when we do this in a spiritual way, when we do this, therefore, what I mean by that is, again, as a first cut, in a way that doesn't involve other people. It's just blow it off, whether that's blow it off to yourself, as in, just silently, chat to yourself, have that dialogue, listen to yourself, let yourself say it, feel it, hear it. Or whether it's because you walk around muttering for a minute, or even sit and mutter, even exercise and mutter. It could even be write it out. Could even be video it out. Now, if you're going to create a tangible record, don't feel like you've got to keep it, because processing is always just that moment that allows us to give egoic self, and therefore hurt or let down self, fearful self even, give it the room to actually express why it is responding and creating the tension, the dissonance, the displeasure, the sadness, whatever those down states are. By giving yourself, your body, the chance to express this in a way that's safe, reasonable, considerate, and true. By doing this, often we help ourselves through a self-healing or through a healing that, sometimes involves tears. But you see, tears mean you're going the right way. So to avoid tears, to avoid certain feelings, it is only to keep the magnet for bad with you rather than releasing and freeing from you. So again, what I'm trying to get to is that this month is a very, very good time to link to the dialogues that are creating tension. Sometimes, especially at the end of a 7 year. So let me just double back on 7. 7, interpersonally, whether we're talking nations or whether we're talking neighborhoods, whether we're talking industry groups, whether we're talking just people. Seven can also be read as opinion, judgment. And of course, we're all got lots of them. You with me? For really good reasons as well as perhaps overheld ones. Yeah. But you see, seven in imbalance, and therefore as a learning curve, as a trigger for healing. You with me? And therefore release, and therefore improvement in the next moment for everybody. Seven can be the moment where I can't let go of my opinion. I can't let go of what I know, not necessarily because it's wrong, but because I can't let it go to actually find out what happens next or even help it happen next. So seven can be intransigence, stubbornness, stuff you, war. Come on, let's go for it. Yeah? Whether that's verbal, whether that's silent, standoffs. Yeah? Whether it's other forms of manipulation, whether it's just pure on hello, having an argument. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that any of those dynamics in themselves are wrong as a policy, as, you know, a universal statement, because sometimes those things, they are needed to a degree as part of a wider level of problem solving and balance creating. But you see, seven can be a place where, again, belligerence, arrogance, yeah, I'm not moving, you've got to. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Yeah, those sorts of things. Even those words that are along the lines, please forgive me, I hate you. Yeah, go stuff yourself, or whatever those things are. Yeah, all of those things. And I'd argue we probably all experience them, at least from time to time. Yeah, all of those things are really egoic self refusing to breathe. Yeah, not even necessarily because it knows it's refusing, but it's so fixated on the surface of something, a very valid, a real surface, but a surface nonetheless. And because it's fixated, it is locked in. And because it's locked in, it can't get any further. It can't go any further. Now, you're right. I'm talking about interpersonal conflict or tensions or whatever. Dynamics, probably a better word. Yeah. But also I'm talking about the dynamics within self. How self is interacting with life and events as they are presenting. In other words, you bet how self is interacting with relationship. Whether that's close personal, whether that is just hello. For some reason, people I'm bumping into right now, they're just hello. There's just something not quite right there. It's not as nice or as harmonious or whatever those words are, good, as I know it can be, or as even it has been. So 7 is a place that often helps us get to the point where we are forced to let go of our mind, our myopia. Yeah, our tunnel vision, our stuckness, yeah, in or on something, whether it is a thought, a feeling, an event, or even a desire. So work with these things over these next few weeks, because again, we're still in the process of closing off 2023, and therefore we're still in the process of getting ready to start 2024. January can very much be a should period, and yet shoulds, of course, set us up to burn energy in ways that we really don't need to, because the minute we realise we're shoulding, we're realising also that, hang on a minute, what I'm doing is rejecting life as it is. I'm not working with life as it is at all. I keep saying to life, no, go away and you have to change your costume and come back and suit me. And of course, life doesn't do that. Life says, okay, well, you know, play your game, but I'm the one that's going to be able to wait the longest. Breath is everything in helping things shift. We can breathe, and obviously we do breathe all the time. And so use your out breath whenever you feel the tension rising, whether that is your tension or someone else's. And as a last point, always let go of things on an all and everybody level, and even an everything. So I let go of all frustration. I let go of all anger, including my own. Why? Because as communal and collective beings, and because thoughts and feelings travel, very often the extremeness of what we are experiencing isn't just coming out of us. It's actually come to us. Now, that doesn't divest us of all responsibility in that process. We each contribute, yeah? But also too, by not just focusing on the issue you think it is, by coming back to the feeling level, I let go of all, again, anger. I let go of all intransigence. I let go of all nastiness. Yeah, I let go of all venom. Or even I just let go of all impatience. So it's whatever word comes up for you as a feeling, in a way that it's not about trying to find it and make sense of it first. It's about find the feeling, tap into that feeling using breath, and then allow that feeling to start to express the words that are in it. And don't vet it. Let it say what it's going to need to. There's rubbish in the jar. It means something right now, but invariably as it clears, it turns into a much bigger picture in a much bigger context in a way that really, really was myopic at that point. And it is through processing, it is through stuff like this that we help energy come back to balance, not only within us and around us personally, but also for everyone involved. Everything is linked. We're not just here as a life that is for us. We're here as lives that are here to also help all of life balance out. And so sometimes we're put in situations that don't feel right, don't feel fair, don't feel reasonable. But you see, who says that that's about the I, the me in the moment as a bad thing? Who says that I and me isn't being positioned to actually help something else come to balance in a really good, kind, considerate way, simply because it can? Don't make that your brief. Don't make it your responsibility, but be aware of that, because things don't just come to us for our sake or out of our making. That's part of it, but they also come, especially imbalanced energies, they come for resolution. And so sometimes they come to a person because that's the only way they can get the resolution they are seeking, simply because they can't do it by themselves all alone. And by involving us personally, they also help us dive to something that needs to be healed, understood, released, processed, cleared. So I hope this has helped you midway January 2024. All the very best for this month. Know that it's an extra special January, and it is. Know that it's a good year. It's a year that wants us to build well, to succeed well on every level, however you define that. Embrace that, know that, and just understand that January, again, it's not the start, it's the preparation to start. So enjoy these things, yet start where you can. All the very best to you. Yeah, travel well. Thank you so much for watching this. And yeah, let me know how it comes across. I can always use the feedback. Take good care till next month. Bye-bye.